Where did those scars really come from? What does the clown makeup symbolize? And what, for God's sake, is the joke that Joker never told us? There's one simple, logical answer to all three questions that ties together every Joker story, whether in films or comics. Only Batman knows this answer. Let's get into it. A gangster, an anarchist, a downtrodden Gotham resident. Each version of the Joker tells us the same thing. They laugh at the same things. Heath Ledger's Joker gives us a different story about his scars each time, but the core of these stories always reveals the same underlying motive. No matter how horrific the world is or how dreadful everything around you feels, you have to smile and act like everything's fine. At first, he says his father was a drunken monster who beat him and his mother. One day, his father went mad, killed his mother, told Joker to smile and act like it was all normal, then sliced his face with a blade. Another story. His wife was a compulsive gambler. Despite her struggles, she would tell him he was too serious and needed to smile more. One day, she had a big loss, and people came to collect her debt, cutting her face. She was devastated, so Joker cut a smile into his own face to lift her spirits. Joaquin Phoenix's Joker recalls how, in childhood, he was chained to a radiator, beaten by his mother's abusive boyfriend. But his mother would say that, no matter what, he had to smile. She always tells me to smile and put on a happy face. No matter how bad things are, you have to look happy. You have to create the illusion of happiness because nobody cares about your problems. Do you see what I mean? It's so hard to keep trying to be happy all the time. From his earliest days, Joker learned that he had to smile when things were bad. That's how he expresses his pain, laughing uncontrollably, loudly, when he feels the most hurt. He never cried. He was always the happy, laughs boy. In the opening scene, he tries to force a smile, draws smiley faces, and writes, "Put on a happy face," on the mirror. He pastes a smile on the sad face of Bruce Wayne. Even if you're miserable, you're not supposed to show it. My smile is just a mask. My face is twisted into a grin, but if you look into my soul, you'll see I'm crying. Maybe we should cry together? Jack Nicholson's Joker creates a toxin that forces people to smile. He even makes a commercial for it, saying people seem to have already embraced it. Where to buy all these products? It's just a joke. You've probably already bought them. People are indifferent to injustice, cruelty, and violence. They've got a forced smile for everything. Just like the one Joker was pressured into as a child. He took this idea literally, even radically. If everyone pretends that harsh reality is normal, he'll exaggerate these norms to show their true nature. He destroys museum artifacts, relics of a culture that cares more about art than people. Ledger's Joker burns money. He spits on social institutions. He kills, he sows anarchy. Nicholson's Joker stages a procession where he throws wads of money, and then sprays poison on greedy citizens. He destroys museum exhibits, artifacts of society's culture. Phoenix's Joker lights the city on fire, wearing a bloody smile. He promised he'd become a real comedian and make people laugh. He kept that promise. He smiles and puts on a happy face. People like me are crazy. Joker sees the world without rose-colored glasses, without the frills and embellishments. But this perspective is seen as insanity. The worst part is that he's forced to act like what's happening around him is normal, forced to play along. He writes in his notebook, "The worst part of having a mental illness is people expect you to behave as if you don't. Is it just me, or is the whole world going mad?" He can't tell if it's his smile that's abnormal or everyone else's. For him, comedy and tragedy blend together. He can't help but laugh when he sees humiliation, misery, and death. Knock, knock. Who's there? It's the police. Your son was hit by a drunk driver and died. I used to think my life was a tragedy. Now I realize it's a goddamn comedy. Now we get to the most interesting part. Many people criticize Phoenix's Joker, and the arguments vary. He lacks Ledger's charisma. He's not a genius criminal but a whiner. His story isn't canonical. Comics aren't just a static, monolithic character but a collection of stories bound by shared ideas, philosophy, mythology, and setting. It's crucial to understand that comics are written not by studios but by individual authors, and each author sees the character differently. At different times, Batman and Joker comics addressed different issues, responding to the demands of different generations. In the comic book industry, there's a concept, a series of issues written by a specific author or team. Todd Phillips' Joker should be seen as just another run. It doesn't contradict the character's philosophy. Todd Phillips believes it's now impossible to make films like Taxi Driver or One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest without framing them as stories about comic book characters. Essentially, Joaquin Phoenix's character is Travis Bickle or Randall McMurphy set in Gotham. Joker is the perfect character for this story, as he's an unreliable narrator. I made it up. I came up with a joke. At the end of the movie, he refers to Alan Moore's legendary comic The Killing Joke, where Joker tells Batman his backstory and admits it's likely untrue. He himself doesn't know which version is real. But all these stories are terrible. They are about people who were turned upside down by the world. Maybe his wife died in childbirth, maybe not. Maybe his father was an alcoholic. Maybe his wife was a gambler who owed money to the sharks and the mining business. Maybe he is an unsuccessful artist who chickened out of meeting his neighbor. The Joker embodies all these stories. There are hundreds of versions of the origin of these scars, because scars are a metaphor. They are the crippled destinies of people. The Joker is the rebellious voice of the oppressed, people who have been left with terrible scars by society. The Joker remembers all these stories because he is all these people. The Joker's final joke, which we will not understand, unites all the stories. First, it tells us that everything that happens is just a version, the life of one of the random people. The comic repeats many times that it only takes one bad day to go crazy. To prove his point, the Joker gives Harvey Dent a bad day, which turns him into a complete lunatic. And secondly, when the Joker says the joke he made up, we see little Bruce Wayne standing over his dead parents. In a killer joke, the Joker tells this very joke to Batman, and they both laugh heartily, because they understand the absurdity of this world. But neither we nor the psychiatrist sitting in front of him will understand. Because not all of us have been scarred by life. That is why, when the Joker says these words, we see Batman. We see the one who has just been scarred. The one who will grow up and understand this killer joke. His parents are dead, and the Joker finds it funny. Because death is a trifle. No one cares about an orphan boy. Oh, why was everyone so worried about the Wayne family? If I were dying on the sidewalk, you would step over me. The shot with the Wayne family repeats the shot with the Joker. In one of the alleys of Gotham, the Joker was born and Batman was born. One bad day. The main character and the main villain of the story is Gotham. A city in which new problems are brewing every generation or even every decade. And just one random day in this city can give birth to a new Joker. I think no one should have any questions about the canonicity of the Joker Phoenix, because this story only emphasizes the previous ones. The Joker and Batman were born in similar circumstances, and they both fight the same problem, but in different ways. The Joker, who got out of the bottom, destroys social institutions, burns money, sows anarchy, spits on bandits and politicians. He is trying to solve the problem of the superpowers from the root cause. And Batman, the son of a billionaire, who was partly the cause of Gotham's troubles, fights only with the investigation, beats up the flunkies and small bandits with his fists. Batman doesn't want to kill the Joker, and the Joker doesn't want to kill Batman, because they are two sides of the same coin. I don't want to kill you. What would I do without you? In a killer joke, Batman offers the Joker a truce and renounce violence. But the Joker says it's too late. I'm sorry, but no. No, it's too late. Not because he can't fix himself, but because the world can't be fixed. It will always be unfair and therefore painfully funny. Comics are a unique genre, close to myth, where everyone can endlessly create, starting from familiar images and not be distracted by unnecessary exposition. DC is fundamentally reluctant to reveal the origin of the Joker, but the concept of an unreliable narrator allows authors like Nolan, Zack Snyder or Alan Moore to create new layers of meta-narrative. Subtext, references and visual language that were not even originally intended. This is a canon that simply did not exist in the first place. Canon does not promise authenticity. Canon is just the stories that come out under the auspices of the studio, approved by the management.